So, hello, I'm Charlotte from What the F, and I'm here with Ellie, and we're just going to have a bit of a chit chat. Do you want to introduce yourself again?
Again. Hi, I'm Ellie. I my at is Ellie Halkins underscore copywriter. And that kind of says what I do. So I do a bit of copywriting and content writing. I graduated in 2019. So yeah, I've kind of been out of uni a bit over a year. Yeah, is that a bit over a year? Yeah,
Yeah.
like 18 months.
Well,
Um,
2020 kind of doesn't count, so.
I know. Yeah, so I do a bit of copywriting, bit of content writing, and I love kind of writing about or like talking to people about our age group. I think specifically, like I do a
Yeah.
lot of work with Jasmine from Find Your Intern, and it's all about like helping graduates and students and people feeling a bit weird when you're in your 20s. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
so
which
nice
is what,
to be able to talk to you
yeah, which is
about
what we're
this stuff.
kind of
Yeah.
going to cover today, because after that post, we started chatting, didn't we? And it was all about
Yeah.
running out of time and being in your 20s and running out of time, and why do we sort of feel like that? So for me, it's definitely career based. I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm just like, what am I doing? And seeing all
Yeah.
my friends doing all these different things, and it's like, should I be doing that or should I be doing this? And it's just really confusing. What about you? What's your sort of main thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm quite similar as well. I mean, I'm sure I will get to the stage with relationship stuff wise, but
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of me is just kind of like, that's just that's like the second half of your 20s to be worrying about. I feel like
Yeah.
we're on like the pre midlife quarter life crisis, and then
Yeah.
there's post quarter life. So yeah, so I think for me, I think I'm the same, mostly kind of career stuff. I think um going freelance was a big jump for me as well, like understanding how all that works.
Yeah,
I Massive disclaimer, still don't really know how it works. I'm still figuring it out. But yeah, I think it's really tricky. I mean, we kind of spoke earlier about how you've gotten through this whole system of education that's all very structured,
yeah,
and you have um this kind of quantitative value of how well you're
yeah,
doing, and it's like, oh, you performed this well this year, or like you're really good at English, or you're really
yeah,
good at maths, and you kind of have that gratification quite consistently when you're growing up, and then you sort of come out of uni and it's like, okay, like do your thing, and then
yeah,
not kind of learn any of the skills that are actually incredibly valuable when
yeah,
you're living in your life, like tax and mortgages and
yeah, no
like
clue.
running a business, and or like even stuff like we had some really lame PSHE lessons,
Yeah,
like what do you want to be? And it was like, do you want to be a policewoman? Do you want to be a fireman? Like it wasn't like,
yeah,
I think for me especially, I don't have a clue how many jobs are out there, and I'm still learning. Like
yeah,
I didn't even know that you could be a specific like SEO copywriter or a
yeah,
web copywriter or like a UX designer, or there's just like so many things that you don't know even exist. So like of course you're not meant to know which one you want to
yeah,
do.
and
And
there's
also like you
time to
don't
figure that
know
out.
what, yeah, like what's involved in that. Like you could be like, oh yeah, I like writing, maybe I should be a copywriter. But actually, what kind of copywriter do you want to be? And
Yeah,
like, what do you want to specialize in?
mm,
And what are you interested in? Like, no one knows these things. And I
no,
think that's like, that's okay to say, is that like, is
yeah,
that your 20s are meant to be you figuring this stuff out. Like
yeah,
my mum always says, like, women and men, people, but mostly women thrive in their 30s because they know themselves.
yeah,
And I think your 20s are this weird period of time where you're trying to figure out who you are, what you want to do, what you value, where you want to go. And then when you're in your 30s, everything's sort of like falling into place. Kind of, I'm sorry if you're 30 and watching this and thinking, Nope. But like, I think when you get older, you sort of come into your own and you
Yeah, you
learn
know
to
who you are.
value.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. You learn to value yourself rather than find your value in how other people think about you or how
yeah,
well you do a job or
yeah.
those kind of like external validation. You kind of learn to
Be
get
proud
that
of
from
yourself.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just weird, especially when you were saying about the education structure and you're just given a plan, aren't you? You do your A
Mm,
levels and then you go to college and then you go, oh well, I want to go here for uni and then I need to plan this and then I need to do that and then you finish and then you're like in the real world and you're a bit like, oh, what do I
oh
do
God.
now?
Yeah.
So I think it is a lot of it is like planned out, and then you get to that stage where it's not planned out and you have to make your own decisions. And because
Mm,
there's so many people doing so many different things, and you're just like, well, I'm behind. I'm behind
yeah.
everyone else. I'm not doing the right thing. I should be doing that. They've got their own business. They've got an Etsy shop, like you said before, and it's
Yeah.
like, maybe I need to do that. And it's like,
Yeah.
do you really want to do that? Or
Yeah.
so it is about
Exactly. Exactly.
figuring it out yourself. So when you're having a bad sort of day and you're like, "Oh, no, I'm so behind," what do you normally do to help yourself?
So I find it really useful to kind of speak to people that well, speak to other people because I think we're all really, really hard on ourselves. And I
Yeah,
think you can really easily forget your achievements and focus on the stuff that you weren't bad at, which is totally
yeah,
fair. That's kind of what we're meant to do is focus on your failures so you can keep succeeding. But I think it's really important to kind of take a moment to talk to other people about how you're feeling.
yeah.
And my mum is always amazing for a good reality check
Wow.
because I think she's got that kind of age and experience where she's done jobs that she's hated, she's done jobs that she's loved, she's like come to like been on this journey about knowing herself, and then she
Yeah,
can kind of look at it from that perspective and being like,
yeah,
you are so young.
yeah.
And we talked about this earlier, and I kind of said, if you think about your career as you start it maybe around your 20s and then you end it in your 60s, and we're like 3 years into that. So
Yeah,
we're 23. Are you 23?
22.
22,
Yeah,
23. So you're 2, 3 years into this 40-year span,
yeah,
and no one is meant to know what you're meant to do. Like
yeah,
you have 40 years to figure out what you enjoy, and we're freaking out that we haven't got that in the first 2, 3 years,
yeah,
which seems mad when you put it like that. But
yeah.
I
But
think
again,
there's a lot of pressure, like well, a lot of people feel like they're not where they're supposed to be,
yeah,
and it's like that kind of concept of where you're supposed to be doesn't even exist.
yeah,
No one's supposed to be anywhere. I think
yeah,
if you're just enjoying the process,
mm,
then you're ahead in some ways than
yeah,
people that might on paper have a great job or have a mortgage or have plans for the future. But if
yeah,
you're happy and you're like moving in the right direction, then I think you're actually more fulfilled and more where you're supposed to be
yeah.
than someone else, for example.
Yeah, because a lot of people see like they want this big end goal, they want this big like massive business, and then they want the car,
Yeah.
the house, and it's like yeah, like all those things are so good, and if you get them, if you've got them, congratulations. But if you like once you get them, what then?
Yeah.
Do you feel a sense of fulfillment that you're gonna feel for the rest of your life? Or surely it's better to be doing something that you really enjoy and you're not expected to have figured that out yet, just like you said.
Yeah.
But rather than
Exactly.
striving for like these big, massive, expensive goals, maybe something that like happiness is gonna be a better goal because it's continuous.
Yeah, exactly. I watched this TED talk actually, and this guy was saying that he worked really hard to get into this really high paid, high position job
Yeah,
at 25, and then he realized that he was miserable.
Yeah.
And on paper, he had this incredible life, and he got to go traveling and do all of
Yeah.
these things while also working this incredible job and living with his girlfriend. But he spent every single day absolutely miserable at his job. And then he had to go back to square one and figure
Yeah.
out what he loved and what he enjoyed, and then start that entire process again. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, actually, maybe if I spent a bit more time
Yeah.
really figuring out what I want to do and what I value and what makes me happy, then it's okay, because I'll be keeping, even knowing myself, I'll be able to keep moving forward in the right direction rather than going in this weird like triangle back
Yeah.
again, like being like, oh no, I'm not happy. Oh no, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
But I also think that's probably a big part of your 20s as well, is doing stuff that you don't like, because you're not
Yeah,
going to
to
like
figure it
everything.
out.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and that's totally fine if you've got to 25, 26, 27, whatever age, and you still haven't found something you like, or you've hated every job that you've done. I think you can also see that as a positive, because that's
Yeah.
however many jobs that you can tick off and go, nope, don't want to do that.
Yeah. Because I think as well with social media, it is a highlight reel, and everything
Mm,
you do is like, "This is amazing. I love this so much." But
yeah,
it's okay to not like something. That is
yeah,
completely fine. There's things that because I've tried it, I know that I don't enjoy it, so I'm like, "Okay, move on to the next thing." Or
yeah,
it's a weakness, so I can work on it, but I'm not building my life on this
mm,
one thing that I don't like, which I think is important. So,
yeah, definitely. I think it's also really good to um get perspectives from people that aren't necessarily in your field as well. Like a lot
yeah,
of my friends, we're all doing different, like pretty different things. So speaking to one of my friends that's recently got a promotion, she's now becoming a manager and she's moving to London, which is so amazing. And I'm
yeah,
going to her like, you're incredible. That is amazing. You're 23, 24, and you're becoming a manager. That's
yeah,
huge. And then she's going, yeah, but you're freelance. That's so cool. I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of
yeah,
cool.
it
Like,
is.
yeah, like you can kind of, I think it's nice, as much as I think social media can be really hard in terms of comparison culture. I think having your friends or people that know you, or even people that don't really know you, can kind of appreciate your successes sometimes
Yeah,
more than you
definitely.
can see your own. And I
Yeah,
think also with social media, it's so important to remember that no one broadcasts their failures.
no, yeah,
No one's going on there and going, oh yeah, I worked this job and I absolutely hated it and I also wasn't very good at it.
yeah,
Like
no,
no one's saying
yeah,
that. People are
and
just
I
saying,
do as
oh, like,
well, like, I do as well.
yeah,
There's not one photo on my personal Instagram where I've got Sudocrem on my face and my hair's greasy, and just because no one else does it, so you're like, "Oh, well, I'm not gonna do it," but that is probably quite toxic as well because
yeah,
we're all just, like, well, not pretending because I am who I am, but there's other sides to me, like, I don't always look like this.
yeah, I'm
So
already.
yeah. So, I think it is understanding that it is a highlight rule, and like you said, no one shows their failures because we've just been brought up kind of not to, so
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think you kind of, there's a weird value with social media where you feel like you wanna show all of this. I don't know, there's something bizarre about social media where I think it's a bit sadistic in the fact that you kind of want people to feel jealous of you. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if that comes across with everyone, but I every time I see a post of someone, like, doing amazing things, I get this, like, weird mix of, like, oh my God, like, freaking out that I'm not doing that or I'm
yeah,
not as successful, and I'm, like, jealous and I'm just sad.
yeah,
And then I'm, like, also happy for them a bit, but I'm mostly like, "How does this affect me?"
yeah, when really it's got nothing to do with us,
No.
what they're doing. So, maybe it's kind of because I think everyone does it, but maybe it's like a selfish sort of thing, and we
Yeah.
think like, "Oh, well, if they've got that, that means I can't have it."
Yeah,
So
exactly.
then you're like, "Oh, well, now I'm annoyed."
Yeah, and I
You
think
don't
as
you're not
well,
doing
like,
it on
if they,
purpose, yeah.
yeah, if they've done it sooner, just from circumstances of whatever has happened with them, and they've just happened to do something before you then feel behind. And it's like, actually, that person might be like just doing things in a different order to you,
Yeah,
or like
exactly,
they
yeah.
might they might also do something or make this amazing leap that looks great on paper, but actually they're not happy, whereas you
Yeah,
are happy, just contented, considering your
yeah.
next moves.
And you don't know, you might have tried something like 40 times and then finally it works and you post it on Instagram and you're like, oh, look at this is amazing. And then someone else might have also be on that journey, but they might have only tried it 35 times. So they're not quite there yet. But because
Yeah,
they're seeing your progress, they're like, oh, well, I'm doing this. Why am I not getting there? And it's like, well, you don't know the hard work that's been put in behind the scenes as well. And a lot
yeah,
of it is, it can be not luck, but circumstances. It's all about who you know rather than what you know. But you're in a different
yeah.
place. But we're all on different. I don't like saying this, but we're all on different paths.
I know, exactly. And I think the main thing about feeling rushed is that it's not anything I think anyone else is imposing on you. I don't think it's anything anyone's
Yeah.
going like, you should be doing this right now, or you should
Mm.
be here. Well, unless I guess social media is kind of doing that. But I think mostly it's how we feel about ourselves,
Yes.
which I think is great, because if it's something that if it's a negative feeling that's coming from ourselves, we can also change it into a positive feeling.
Yeah.
So if you're saying to yourself like, "Oh, I'm not where I wanted to be." So say for example, you plan something like, "Oh, I want to do this certain thing by the time I'm 25," and you haven't done that. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you are behind because it hasn't happened. It just means that your path has, like cliche, your path has kind of diverted in a
Yeah.
way that you weren't expecting. And I think if we're constantly planning and we're constantly going, I should be here, and giving ourselves checkpoints, like these completely made up checkpoints,
Random.
like, yeah, like you're just choosing an age. By 25, I want to do this. By 28, I want to be engaged. By
Yeah.
30, I want to have babies. It's like, why are you doing that to yourself? Why are
Yeah.
you like, why are you giving yourself this time span? Because obviously you're going to feel like under pressure, and you're going to feel rushed if
Mm.
you're saying to yourself, this needs to happen in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
But I think then also I'm like contrasting everything I say.
That's good though.
I think also it's really important to think about, maybe not necessarily in time, but in to still set yourself those goals and go, okay, at some point I want to be able to say that I've achieved this.
Yeah.
So what are the steps to doing that? Like I think you mentioned before, it was like breaking down those bigger goals into
Yeah.
smaller achievable things to make sure you're feel like you're kind of progressing, but it's not like this big daunting thing that
Yeah.
you have to achieve by a certain
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. You're not looking at it like, right, I'm gonna make this £1 million business in a year. And it's like that's probably not gonna happen. So why
Yeah.
don't you start off with like start of an idea of what you want to actually do,
Yeah.
have some experience, gain some practice, start an Instagram, show off your work. And then I think a lot of it is networking as well and being around the right people. Like you say,
Yeah.
your mom like helps you out quite a lot, breaking down the goals, and you're doing fine.
You're doing good. You're doing
You're
good.
doing
I
good.
read this really lovely article actually by Bernardine Evaristo, and she has just won a Booker Prize at
Yeah.
60 for her book Girl, Woman, Other. And she was saying when she got the award, loads of people were asking her, like, does it feel bittersweet? Do you feel like it came too late? And she was like, no, like, no, it
Yeah.
came exactly when it was meant to happen. And she'd worked and loved her work through all the highs and lows, through 40 years of writing and it working and it not working. And then she crafted
Yeah.
this incredible piece. And then she got awarded for it. And she was like, why would I want it any sooner than it came. It came exactly when it was meant to
Yeah.
happen, which I think is so important to remember is when you're enjoying what you're doing, and I appreciate it's hard to even figure out what you enjoy
Yeah.
and what you enjoy doing. But once you do that, it's not going to feel like you're meant to be somewhere that you're not. It's like I'm happy, I'm doing something that I love. And
Yeah.
then if you reach a goal, that's amazing. But
Yeah.
it's not like your whole life is predetermined by these set points and these goals. And if you meet
Yeah.
them or don't meet them, you're a success or a failure.
Yeah. It's all the little things, isn't it, that you've just
Yeah.
gotta keep going and, yeah, pushing towards these goals and keep trying to, gain more skills, gain more experience, become a better person. And obviously being in our 20s, we understand, and I suffer from it as well. I think I'm running out of time, and sometimes
Mm,
you do have to keep yourself in check as well.
yeah, for
And you
sure.
have to be like, right, why am I actually feeling like that? Am I feeling like that because I'm insecure about something I've just done,
Yeah.
or because I'm maybe not doing what I thought I would be doing? And kind of
Yeah.
keeping a check on why you're actually feeling like that, because like you said, no one's really rushing you. It
Yeah.
it is all just in your mind,
Yeah.
but it can be
I think
difficult.
that's such a good point is that the comfort I think that we can find A from this conversation and B just generally in your 20s is that everyone is feeling the same.
Yeah,
And it's and I think you kind of have to find comfort not in the way that you're going to change it and you're going to write a to-do list and you're going to make goals and
yeah,
all of this. It's actually that you're appreciating that the way you're feeling has valid reasons. So
yeah,
you're feeling rushed because your friend has just got a promotion, or you don't feel like you're in the right position because you're watching influencers
yeah,
who are like 19 and earn
yeah,
however much a year and have just bought a house. I'm thinking Molly May. I just can't get it out of my But I think the comfort comes from knowing that there are actual reasons behind why you're feeling this way.
yeah,
It's not a solution. It's not going, okay, you feel shit, do this and you won't feel shit. It's like okay, I feel shit because of this. I feel shit because of this.
yeah,
So let's just work
yeah,
towards appreciating the things that I can control
yeah,
and then move forward like that. I think you just have to sometimes know that things do fall into place, which is
yeah.
really hard
It is
because
hard, yeah,
you do just
yeah.
sit there with your own thoughts and you're like,
Why?
I'm behind.
'Cause, yeah, you're just like, "I'm behind. I'm a failure. I'm done."
Yeah, I
But it's like,
suck. I'm
"No,
the
you're not."
worst.
Yeah, you're not. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and as long as you've got a good network of people, and I think there's quite a lot of, people on Instagram now as well pushing this sort of thing, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of positive content out there, which I think as well, clearing out your Instagram feed. This is a little bit off topic, but
No,
clearing out
I
your
agree.
Instagram feed of like people that make you feel shit, just do it. Like they're
Yeah.
not gonna care, because it's gonna continue to make you feel shit, and it's not gonna make you
Yeah.
feel any better. So
And I think it's just natural to compare yourself to other people. I think
yeah,
I think comparison culture is absolutely rife in society at the moment, and especially on social media. It's natural to look at something someone else has and then find the distance between what they have and what you don't have,
yeah,
instead of just appreciating that you are different.
yeah,
But and I think you're so right. I think just wipe out your Instagram feed or other social media
yeah,
and just try and follow positive people that you can I think that you can genuinely feel happy for
yeah,
rather than be like, "Oh my god, they're doing that, I'm not doing that."
yeah,
But it's hard. It's tricky because a lot of it can actually be quite inspirational.
yeah,
But I think maybe when you're feeling negative already, or when you're in a bit of a mindset where you're feeling a bit lost, to then overload your system with like images of
great things,
people
yeah.
doing amazing things, you're like, right.
Yeah,
And I think it's important to remember that these phases of your life are entirely made up, like completely
Yeah,
fabricated.
they are.
And it's just, and I think specifically as women, I think this is something we didn't touch on last time, but you mentioned in your post, which I thought was really thoughtful, that women sort of have this underlying feeling that they know at some point in their career that they will have to make a sacrifice to have children.
Yeah.
And I would be interested to see actually how men, boys felt about that, and how if whether they
Yeah.
felt the same kind of pressure, because I think it's like, obviously it's understood that women have the baby, so you
Yeah.
naturally have to take maternity leave. But me and my friend were speaking about it last night, and we were sort of saying, one of my mum's friends, she's incredibly successful businesswoman,
Yeah.
and she, she did her maternity leave and then she went straight back to work, and since then her career has skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And her husband gets a lot of applause for being a stay-at-home dad,
Mm.
and kind of she feels sometimes like a bit like she gets some negative comments about
Right, okay,
her
yeah.
leaving her child. Whereas if we think about it in the other way around,
Exactly.
if you as a woman either work from home, or maybe even you decide to just be a stay-at-home mum, and then your husband goes off working, he's applauded for being a massive, amazing businessman,
Yeah.
and you're kind of also negatively looked at, like, oh, so you're a kept woman, so you stay at home, so you do nothing all
Yeah.
day. So
Yeah.
it's this kind of weird, I think it's a bit ingrained. Hopefully maybe that's going to be changing with our
Yeah, I
generation.
was gonna say, do you think it's probably gonna shift though? Because I feel like
Yeah,
a lot of, especially women in our sort of age, we are very pro like career, and that is kind
yeah.
of at the forefront of our mind,
Mm.
whereas maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, and I think as well, you probably get, when you get to the age where you want to have kids, it probably doesn't feel like a sacrifice.
Yeah,
But
true.
I
Yeah.
think looking at it when our focus is really purely on career driving, you kind of know that, oh God, around 30 to 35, I'm gonna have to sacrifice it.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's what contributes to that feeling like we're behind, and that we have to
Yeah.
rush into it, and that we need to get it all in, or at least solidify our careers before we turn 30,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there's a bit of pressure. But it'd be interesting if anyone wants to comment about how
Yeah.
they feel about that, because that
Yeah,
would
that would
be,
be good.
because I think at this age you do kind of see it like, right, I'm gonna have to take a step back at some point, so I need to like throw myself in now.
Yeah.
um
Yeah, maybe that is quite a big part of it, and a lot of women maybe don't realise that it is a big
yeah,
part of it, and they're
but
rushing
it's kind of
because
subconscious.
yeah, because they know, and especially obviously women's bodies, like there is like a time limit to having children,
Yeah.
whereas men it's not as much as an issue.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, I mean, that's also the same, I guess, for, well, similar for like housing and cars and other things like
Yeah,
that, where you have like a set goal that you feel like you need to achieve by a certain age, just because society told that you shouldn't
yeah,
be living at home at 28.
yeah,
Which is, it's, I don't know, it's weird. Maybe you like living at home. Maybe
yeah,
your mum likes you living at home.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I think what's great about this conversation, and why we should keep having conversations like this, is that we all need to know that we all feel the same.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I think so many times I've been to the pub and people have been like, "Oh, how's your job going?" Or like, "Oh, how's this, how's that?" And you kind of just are like, do you want to know, really? Like,
Yeah.
if you want to know seriously, then I don't think this is the right environment for that conversation.
Yeah.
So you
Be
kind
like,
of just
"I
go
had a day
off and you're like,
down."
yeah, it's all right. And then everyone just thinks that everyone's job is
Fine.
like really good. And then you're thinking on the inside, oh God, they've just told me their job's good. So now I have
Yeah.
to say the same, otherwise I'm this weird downer.
Yeah.
To go like, yeah, actually I'm having a massive existential crisis right
Yeah.
now.
Help me.
But no, I think that's what's so important and why I absolutely loved your post as well, because I think it just perfectly kind of pulled together so many good reasons about why we're feeling this way, and I think that's actually a really big comfort is having those reasons and being able to see,
Yeah,
okay, I'm not weird for feeling like this. There
no,
is tangible reasons why I have these emotions that I'm feeling right now,
yeah.
and there's also ways that we can work through them.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna write it out why I feel this way. And then it just ended up turning into a post, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? Fuck it, I'm just gonna post it." So I ended
Yeah,
up just posting it, and I got so many nice messages of people being
yeah,
like, "Oh my God, like relate to this so much." And it made
yeah.
me feel better that I wasn't alone in what I
Yeah,
was
I
feeling
mean,
that
I
day.
even put like, posting it to my stories, I got so many DMs of people like, "Oh my god, this is it. This is
Yeah,
exactly it. I feel rushed and I have no idea why." And I think we're all in this weird position where we all feel the same, no one's actually talking about it.
yeah,
But then when
yeah,
someone actually said, or maybe we don't even realize it until someone says it,
that's it.
and then as soon as someone does, it feels like a relief. It's
Yeah,
like, "Yeah, I'm with
yeah.
you. We're here." Like, this is just what we're gonna have to deal with together.
So anyone
Yeah,
watching, you're not alone. It's
you're
fine.
not alone.
You're
We're here.
completely normal.
We can tell you we feel the same.